The Christmas lights twinkled mockingly around my parents' living room as 37 family members celebrated my sister Lisa's engagement announcement. The party had been planned for weeks, with extended family flying in from across the country to congratulate the golden child on her upcoming wedding to a successful orthopedic surgeon. I sat quietly in the corner chair, my wool scarf strategically positioned to hide the port access line beneath my collarbone. The third round of chemotherapy had ended 2 days ago, leaving me exhausted and nauseated, but I'd forced myself to attend because missing Lisa's moment would have generated even more family drama. "Emma looks terrible," I heard Aunt Margaret whisper to my mother near the punch bowl. "So pale and thin. Is she still claiming to have cancer?" Mom's response carried across the room with practiced exasperation. 8 months of this performance. We've tried everything. Counseling, referrals, medical consultations, even staging an intervention. She's committed to this fantasy. The medical consultations she referenced had been my desperate attempts to show family members my treatment records from Metropolitan Cancer Institute. Each time, they dismissed the documentation as either fabricated or exaggerated, insisting that real cancer patients looked different than I did. "Emma's timing is suspiciously convenient," added Uncle Robert, Lisa's future father-in-law. "First she claims mysterious illness right before Lisa's engagement announcement. Now she's escalating the drama for the party." My cousin Sarah joined the conversation with obvious disdain. "Stage 3 ovarian cancer at 29? Please. She probably read about it online and decided it would get her attention." The irony was devastating. My actual diagnosis was stage 3 ovarian cancer with peritoneal spread, requiring aggressive combination chemotherapy that had consumed 8 months of my life. The attention they accused me of seeking consisted mainly of missing work for treatment, losing 30 pounds from medication side effects, and watching my hair fall out in clumps. "Emma's always been jealous of Lisa's achievements," Dad announced loudly enough for the entire room to hear. "Medical school, successful residency, engagement to Dr. Williams. Some people can't handle others' success." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the family gathering. Lisa basked in the supportive attention, her diamond engagement ring catching the Christmas lights as she gestured dramatically about wedding planning. "The cancer story started right after I got engaged," Lisa confided to a circle of relatives. "Suddenly Emma needed all this medical attention and family support. Classic attention-seeking behavior." What they didn't know was that my diagnosis had actually preceded Lisa's engagement by 3 months. I'd been undergoing chemotherapy treatments when she'd announced her relationship with Dr. Williams, but I'd kept my medical situation private to avoid overshadowing her happiness. "Real cancer patients have obvious symptoms," proclaimed Dr. Williams himself, my sister's fiancé, who apparently considered his orthopedic training sufficient for oncology opinions. "Emma looks tired, not terminal." The comment drew knowing nods from family members who'd convinced themselves they could diagnose cancer by visual assessment. None of them understood that modern chemotherapy often allowed patients to maintain relatively normal appearances between treatment cycles. My phone buzzed with a text from Dr. Patricia Chen, my oncologist. "Emma, emergency consultation needed tonight. Latest biopsy results require immediate discussion. Can we meet at your location around 8 p.m.? I glanced at the grandfather clock, 7:45 p.m. Dr. Chen was actually coming here to my parents' house during the family Christmas party. The timing couldn't be more perfect or more terrifying. "Emma's not even trying to look sick anymore," Sarah observed with theatrical concern. "If she really had cancer, wouldn't she be in a hospital or something?" "She's probably planning some dramatic exit," added Margaret. "Maybe fake a medical emergency to ruin Lisa's moment." Dad raised his voice again for maximum family impact. "We've decided not to enable this behavior anymore. Emma needs professional psychiatric help, not medical attention for imaginary illnesses." The doorbell rang precisely at 8 o'clock. Through the front window, I could see Dr. Chen's Mercedes in the driveway, followed by a second vehicle that looked suspiciously like a hospital van. "Emma," Mom called irritably, "if you're expecting someone, they'll have to wait. We're in the middle of Lisa's celebration." I stood slowly, gathering my strength for what was about to happen. "Actually, I think this is exactly the right time for my guests to join us." The family Christmas party was about to receive some unexpected medical education. "Build up," 730 words. The doorbell rang again, more persistently this time. Dad approached the front door with obvious annoyance, clearly expecting to dismiss whoever was interrupting Lisa's celebration. "Good evening, I'm Dr. Patricia Chin, Chief of Oncology at Metropolitan Cancer Institute," came the authoritative voice from the entryway. "I need to speak with Emma Richardson immediately regarding urgent medical developments." The party conversation stopped abruptly. 37 family members turned toward the front door where Dr. Chin stood in her professional white coat, carrying a leather medical bag and tablet displaying what appeared to be official hospital documentation. "This is highly irregular," Dad protested. "We're having a private family celebration. Whatever Emma's told you about her condition." "Mr. Richardson," Dr. Chin interrupted with the calm authority of someone who'd delivered difficult news to thousands of families, "your daughter has stage 3 ovarian cancer with peritoneal metastases. I'm here because her latest biopsy results require immediate consultation." The words hit the room like a physical force. Lisa's engagement celebration ground to a halt as Dr. Chen's presence commanded absolute attention. Behind her, 2 additional figures entered. Dr. Marcus Webb, my surgical oncologist, and Jennifer Torres, my oncology social worker. Their combined presence indicated this wasn't a routine house call. "Emma," Dr. Chin approached me directly, ignoring the stunned family members. "We need to discuss the pathology results from Tuesday's procedure. The peritoneal biopsy shows concerning changes that require treatment modification." Aunt Margaret found her voice first, though it came out as a whisper. She really has cancer?" Dr. Webb stepped forward with practiced professionalism. "Mrs. Richardson has been my patient for 8 months. She's undergone 3 surgical procedures and 6 cycles of combination chemotherapy. The cancer is real, aggressive, and life-threatening." Mom sank into the nearest chair, her face pale. "But we thought she was." "Ovarian cancer is often called the silent killer because symptoms aren't obvious until advanced stages," Jennifer Torres explained. "Emma's been fighting for her life while dealing with your family's denial of her diagnosis." Lisa's celebration had transformed into something much more serious. Her fiancé, Dr. Williams, stared at the oncology team with obvious recognition of their credentials and authority. "Dr. Chin," he said hesitantly, "I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I apologize if I've made inappropriate comments about Emma's condition." "You've made medically irresponsible statements," Dr. Chin replied bluntly. "Suggesting that cancer patients should look obviously sick demonstrates dangerous ignorance about modern oncology." Dad struggled to process the information. 8 months of treatment? "Emma, why didn't you tell us it was this serious?" "I tried," I said quietly, my voice carrying exhaustion from months of fighting both cancer and family disbelief. "You accused me of seeking attention every time I mentioned medical appointments or treatment side effects." Dr. Webb consulted his tablet with grave expression. "Emma's case requires intensive family support for optimal treatment outcomes. The psychological stress of having her cancer diagnosis denied by loved ones has negatively impacted her recovery." Sarah's voice was barely audible. "We thought she was making it up." "Making up stage 3 ovarian cancer?" Jennifer Torres's professional composure cracked slightly. "Making up chemotherapy treatments that cost $30,000 per cycle? Making up surgical procedures performed by some of the nation's leading oncologists." The room fell into horrified silence as the magnitude of their mistake became undeniable. "The latest biopsy results," Dr. Chin continued, focusing on me while the family listened, "show mixed response to current treatment protocol. We're seeing tumor reduction in some areas, but concerning activity in others." Uncle Robert cleared his throat awkwardly. "Dr. Chin, what does that mean for Emma's prognosis?" "It means she needs immediate treatment intensification and absolute family support," Dr. Chin replied firmly. "Cancer patients with strong support systems have significantly better outcomes than those dealing with additional stress from family denial." Lisa finally spoke, her engagement celebration forgotten. "Emma, I'm so sorry. We had no idea." "You had 8 months of opportunities to learn," Jennifer Torres interjected. "Instead, you chose to mock her medical condition and accuse her of attention-seeking behavior." Dr. Webb checked his watch. "Emma, we need to schedule emergency consultation for tomorrow morning. The treatment modifications can't wait." As the oncology team prepared to leave, having delivered both medical updates and devastating reality checks, my family sat in stunned silence around the Christmas tree. The party decorations suddenly seemed inappropriate for the medical crisis that had been unfolding in their midst for 8 months while they'd celebrated Lisa's achievements and dismissed my fight for survival. Revelation 500 words. Dr. Chin opened her tablet and activated the large screen display she'd brought from the hospital. Since Emma's family has questioned her diagnosis, I'll present the medical evidence that proves the reality of her condition. The first image showed my initial CT scan from 8 months ago. Dark masses were clearly visible throughout my abdominal cavity, spread across multiple organ systems in ways that no healthy person could fake. Stage 3 ovarian cancer with peritoneal carcinomatosis, Dr. Chin announced to the silent room. Tumor burden was extensive at diagnosis, requiring immediate surgical intervention. Uncle Robert stared at the medical imaging with obvious horror. Those dark areas, that's all cancer? Malignant tumors measuring up to 4 centimeters, Dr. Webb confirmed. Emma underwent cytoreductive surgery lasting 8 hours, followed by heated intraperitoneal chemotherapy. The next slides showed surgical photographs that made several family members visibly uncomfortable. The reality of major cancer surgery was far removed from their assumptions about attention-seeking behavior. Post-surgical pathology confirmed high-grade serous adenocarcinoma, Dr. Chin continued. Genetic testing revealed BRCA2 mutation, indicating hereditary cancer syndrome that likely runs in your family. Dad's voice cracked. Hereditary? You mean others might? Female family members should undergo immediate genetic counseling and screening, Dr. Webb said grimly. Emma's diagnosis suggests other relatives may be at significant risk. Jennifer Torres presented documentation that devastated any remaining denial. Emma's treatment records show perfect compliance with all appointments despite receiving no family support. She's attended every chemotherapy session alone. Mom burst into tears as the reality hit. She went through all this by herself? While you accused her of faking cancer, Jennifer replied without sympathy. The psychological trauma of family denial has been documented as secondary health issue requiring professional intervention. Dr. Chin clicked to the latest test results. Today's biopsy shows concerning developments. The cancer has developed resistance to current chemotherapy protocols. Lisa's engagement celebration was completely forgotten as medical reality dominated the room. What does that mean? She asked fearfully. It means Emma needs experimental treatment options and clinical trial enrollment, Dr. Chin explained. Her survival depends on accessing cutting-edge therapies available only at specialized cancer centers. Dr. Williams, my sister's fiancé, found his voice. Dr. Chin, what's her current prognosis? With optimal treatment and family support, 5-year survival rates approach 60%, Dr. Chin replied. Without support, psychological stress significantly reduces treatment effectiveness. Aunt Margaret was crying openly. Emma, how can we help? What do you need? I need you to believe me, I said simply. For 8 months, you've treated me like a liar while I've been fighting for my life. Dr. Webb gathered the medical files with professional finality. The evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. Emma has advanced ovarian cancer requiring immediate intensive treatment. As the oncology team prepared to leave, having transformed my family's Christmas celebration into a medical education session, the silence was deafening. 37 family members now understood that their attention-seeking relative had actually been dying while they celebrated Lisa's achievements and mocked her desperate attempts to communicate her medical crisis. The Christmas lights seemed dimmed by the weight of medical reality that had suddenly invaded their comfortable denial. Resolution: 260 words. 3 weeks later, the family dynamics had fundamentally shifted. Lisa postponed her wedding planning to focus on organizing my treatment support schedule. Dad spent hours researching ovarian cancer and calling specialists for second opinions. Mom accompanied me to every medical appointment, finally witnessing the reality of chemotherapy firsthand. Emma, Mom said during my latest treatment session, we failed you when you needed us most. There's no excuse for what we did. The apologies came constantly now, but they couldn't erase 8 months of fighting cancer alone while being accused of attention-seeking drama. We should have believed you, Dad repeated daily, his guilt consuming him. Our daughter was dying and we thought she was lying. Uncle Robert and Aunt Margaret had undergone genetic testing immediately, discovering that Margaret carried the same BRCA2 mutation. Her prophylactic surgery was scheduled for next month. Lisa's engagement party had become a family wake-up call about supporting each other through real crises rather than dismissing them for convenient narratives. Dr. Chin says family support improves treatment outcomes, Lisa said hopefully. We want to help however we can. You can start by understanding that cancer doesn't care about wedding planning or family celebrations, I replied. It requires immediate attention and unconditional support. The experimental treatment protocol was showing promising results, but my prognosis remained uncertain. What had changed was my family's understanding that medical emergencies take precedence over social events. Jennifer Torres continued counseling sessions to address the psychological damage from months of family denial during my cancer fight. Sometimes the worst part of battling cancer was discovering that your own family would rather believe you were lying than face the reality of your mortality. The Christmas party had ended my isolation, but it couldn't undo 8 months of fighting alone.